Hello and welcome back. My name is Matthew Brown. Thank you for joining me. As mentioned before, I'm a cybersecurity solutions architect for Context, and I'm delighted to have you here on my CompTIA A+ certification overview. So, to get started, the CompTIA A+ is broken up into two separate exams. So, what is CompTIA A plus? CompTIA A plus is it's for problem solvers, it's for help desk technicians, it's for IT engineers. It is the baseline in your career for help desk support networking. CompTIA A plus is composed of two separate exams, your Core 1 and your Core 2. Over time, this changes every 3 years to different numbers. Currently, we have the 2201101 and we have the 2201102. So what CompTIA A plus does is it brings you through what it is IT is about. So it goes in depth into 9 different skill set areas. So you're going to be looking at for your CompTIA A plus hardware, operating systems, software troubleshooting, networking, troubleshooting in general, security, mobile devices, virtualization, cloud computing, and operational procedures. So, what this means for you. So, for hardware, you're going to be looking at identifying hardware. You're going to be learning about the different types of hardware, and you're also going to have to understand what input, output, also looking at the types of hardware. So your likes of your screen, your keyboard, your mouse, your printer, your USB drives, your internal drives, your external drives, your peripherals, so your networking equipment. So that's what you're going to be looking at for hardware. So for operating systems, you're going to be learning about installing an operating system. This might be anything from your Windows 10 or your Windows 11 operating system, which is your Microsoft based, your Linux operating systems, which are your Ubuntu and Kali, and you might be looking at other ones such as OpenOS. So in this for operating systems, you'll also have a section on your Mac OS, your Chrome OS, your Android, and as mentioned before, your Linux OS. So operating systems is all about operating systems, installing them, setting them up, the requirements, both hardware and software. So that's pretty much it for your operating systems. So your software troubleshooting, this is a mile wide and an inch deep. So you're going to be looking at how to troubleshoot desktops slash workstations, PC and mobile devices. You're going to be looking at your common OSs for each of them. And you're going to be looking at malware and security prevention for your software's troubleshooting. Networking. Within networking, you're going to have to understand the different networking models. So your OSI model, you're going to have to understand your TCP IP, your Wi-Fi, your SOHO. You're going to have to understand what a router is, an access point, a switch, your different layers, your different layered switches, your managed switches, and you might even look at Cisco switches, you know, anything that is covered in networking is going to be quite wide. So for your troubleshooting, they're going to bring you into the life of a help desk engineer. So you're going to be looking at your network issues, your PC issues, your printing, your monitor issues, your file access issues, all that kind of stuff. So you're going to really need to understand troubleshooting, your security, identifying, protecting against security vulnerabilities for devices and their networks. What this means is your security compliance, your identity and access, your IT governance. You're also going to be looking at the likes of the CIA triad, and you're probably going to be looking at other ways of mitigating security threats. So security is quite heavy in the exam. So that's one of the really good sections. Mobile devices is covered in this exam for the simple reason we have iOS and Android out there. So you're going to be looking at configuring those operating systems on the mobile devices. You're also going to be looking at your laptops, your desktops, how these all connect to the Internet of Things. And we're going to be looking at how a mobile device has changed the way in which we use technology. So next on top of that, we're going to be looking at our virtualization and cloud computing. What this means is this is your server environments, your Microsoft virtualization, such as your Hyper-V manager, your uh, virtualized networks. You're also going to be looking at how um, how you attach drives to servers. You might also be looking at how you spin up a virtual machine, how you set up your networks, your switching, all that kind of stuff. So virtualization and cloud computing is really in depth on the A plus. So last but not least, you have your operational procedure. What this means is you're going to be looking at following best practices, safety, environmental issues and impacts, and professionalism in the workplace in IT, how you work with people on that. So, uh, CompTIA A plus is for your help desk techs, your support, your desktop support, your field service engineers, your network engineers, your system support, and your junior systems administrators. A lot of companies require CompTIA A plus. So, as I said, every 3 years, CompTIA refresh their exams. So for CompTIA A plus, you have your Core 1 and your Core 2. You have to complete both Core 1 and Core 2 to get your CompTIA A plus certification. It has max of 90 questions. It's multiple choice, but it has drag and drop and performance based alongside multiple choice. So it's a real tough exam. It's recommended you have about 12 months experience in the field. I would highly recommend that, especially if you're sitting this exam. You don't want to be going in taking this as your first exam if you've no experience. Um, so the cost of the exam is $246, which is about the equivalent in euro. How does CompTIA compare to your other exam providers? So CompTIA is simple. It is two exams. They're 90 minutes each. All all of CompTIA A plus is an entry level exam. The focus is on technical and professional skills, and the prereq is recommended 9 to 12 months. How does this compare with your Microsoft MCSA or your Microsoft MTA? So your MCSA was 2 to 3 exams. This has now been retired by Microsoft, which focus now on role-based. And your MTA were 4 exams, which are now also retiring later this year. How it compares to Cisco CCN ENT is it doesn't really, it's completely different. It's a completely different exam. Cisco, again, is vendor specific. So if you want something that is vendor neutral, that validates your basic fundamental IT knowledge, your CompTIA A plus is the way to go. So some things to note about CompTIA A plus, it can be renewed every year, every 3 years. It's 20 CEs to renew it, and it's quite easy to renew using your Cert Master. So What you can do is with CompTIA Plus to get started, I'd be looking at the what is the CompTIA Plus series. So CompTIA Plus is your next in line from your ITF Plus. It's your infrastructure pathway. So if you go for something like CompTIA Plus, you're looking for baseline knowledge. Um, Places that use CompTIA Plus are your Department of Defense, Verizon, HP, Dell, Intel, Sharp, Wells Fargo, there's loads of places that use it. So to break down the areas covered in core one, so your mobile devices, which is 15%. So you're going to install and configure laptops, hardware, and components. You're going to be looking at configuring accessories and ports of mobile devices. You're also going to be looking at your connectivity, the types of applications supported. You're going to have to explain the network topologies and network types. So your WAN, LAN, VLAN, your VPN, all that kind of good stuff. You're also going to have to summarize the types of cables and connectors. You're also going to have to look at subnetting, your class C addresses. You're also going to look at the common ports and protocols. You're going to have to be able to identify those. You're going to be looking at how corporate data is stored as well. So networking, which is your 20% mark, you're going to be looking at the likes of TCP and UDP. You're also going to be looking at the common types of hardware in networking. So your switches, your routers, your hubs, your, your VPN, your site to site, all those kind of good things. You're also going to be looking at the protocols for wireless networking, how that might affect where you place your access points. You're also going to be looking at your home office and small networks, how you'd set up those. You're also going to be comparing the types of networks in different industries. So like you might in your home office, it might be a small uh, network with just a router and a switch and Wi-Fi. In your small to medium sized business, you might have a firewall, you might have multiple switches, you might have a segmented network. You also might have a DMZ if it's a small office. And then you're going to be looking at your enterprise and corporate networks, which are your large scale networks. So you'll be looking at the likes of VLANing, um, sending data over the trunks and ports. You'll also be looking at how it is important to have a DMZ in place on your corporate network, the types of firewall structures, all that kind of stuff. For hardware, which is 25%, it's very simple. You're going to be asked, and you'll probably see this throughout the CompTIA Plus series, connectors, types of connectors, the differences between the connectors, the type of RAM you need in your PC, your server, your laptop. You're going to be looking at motherboards and CPUs, which are all very important. And you're also going to be looking at replacing power supply units, configuring your multifunction devices, and replacing printer, toner, cartridges, ink, all that kind of stuff. So virtualization and cloud computing is covered with 11%. You're going to have to know the cloud concepts, the aspects of client-side virtualization, why you might want to virtualize an application, hard disk, a server, all that kind of stuff. The next one, which is your network hardware troubleshooting, which is 29%, you're going to have to look at the best practices in this, troubleshooting problems related to the PC, specifically your RAM, your CPU, your motherboard, your CMOS battery, all that kind of stuff. You're also going to be looking at your RAID configurations, your RAID 1, your RAID 5, your RAID 10, why you would choose those RAID configurations. You're also going to be looking at videos, projectors, display units, all that kind of stuff. You're going to be have to able to troubleshoot common issues with devices. So that's your mobile devices, your laptops, your desktops. You're also going to have to look at your wired and wireless networks, how you go about troubleshooting them if you've an example, a loop on the network. So that's the kind of stuff you'll be doing for core one. So core two is quite heavy. So operating systems are 31% of core two. You are going to need to understand the different types of operating systems. The reason I say this is 31% of your exam. So you're going to need to understand the basic features of Microsoft Windows, setting up Microsoft Windows using command line. We're also going to have to understand control panel utilities, um, configuring your Microsoft Windows networking features on the client and desktop. How do you turn on and off features? How do you apply installations to Windows devices? Are you going to do that through a server? Are you going to do that manually, automatically, through group policies? What way are you going to do it? You're also going to have to look at installations and upgrades, performing those. Um, in operating systems, we also have Mac OS covered here. So you're going to need to understand the Mac OS, the desktop OS. You're going to need to identify the common features and tools of the Linux operating system. So your Kali, your Ubuntu, all that kind of stuff. Security is worth 25%. You're going to have to understand the protocols. You're going to have to compare and contrast authentication methods. You're going to have to understand the likes of removing malware, the appropriate tools to use. You're going to have to explain the types of engineering, social engineering. You're going to have to be able to identify threats and vulnerabilities. You're also going to have to be able to configure basic security settings in Microsoft Windows. Uh, Things like best practices, zero trust, firewalls, all this comes into security. You're also going to have to understand common data destruction and disposal methods, and you're going to have to look at configuring browser related securities. So, software troubleshooting is 22%. It's troubleshooting the common Windows and OS problems. You're going to be looking at personal computing, business computing, uh, home computing, all that kind of stuff. You're going to be looking at the common mobile operating system issues that you can have. You're going to have to be able to troubleshoot that. The software troubleshooting is in general about troubleshooting your Microsoft, your Mac OS, your Android, your iOS, all that kind of stuff. So you're going to need to be familiar with that. We're also going to be looking here for 22% at operational procedures. What this means is you're going to have to implement best practices, you're going to have to understand documentation, you're going to have to understand change management processes, you're also going to have to understand how to work with backups, set them up, set up recovery devices, your BitLocker encryption here, that kind of stuff. You're going to have to understand the safety side of operating in a possibly a SOC environment or your help desk environment. You're also going to have to look at the likes of licensing, privacy, activity, understanding what's prohibited, what's not. You're going to have to also understand how to communicate effectively with people, the techniques you're going to use, professionalism, how that plays into the operational procedures. You're going to also have to identify the basic scripts you're going to use and the types of remote technologies such as your WebEx, your TeamViewer, your GoToAssist, all that kind of stuff. So CompTIA A plus is a higher stakes exam. Yes, it is. It is one that tests you on your IT knowledge, your I suppose your problem solving skills and your ability to identify problems and provide practical solutions. Um, the average salary of someone in the tech support industry in Ireland is around anywhere from 25,000 to 40,000 based on a 1 or 2 year stint in help desk support. So if you're in help desk support and you're earning between that between that threshold, doing CompTIA Plus would be a good example of a game changer for you because it means you can move on to the next level of support. So you might have your help desk one, you might move up to your level 2 or 3 in help desk support with this certification. So CompTIA Plus is a clear winner. So why I recommend people to do CompTIA Plus is if you're if you're in IT and you're in it over a year or two and you've done help desk level one and you're looking for a move up to higher levels and you need a salary increase, you want to be able to problem solve more, you want to enjoy your job more, I would highly recommend doing CompTIA Plus. CompTIA A Plus can be renewed with Cert Master as well every 3 years. So that's a great addition. You only have to worry about it once every 3 years to stay up to date. CompTIA A Plus would be considered the gold standard for basic help desk support. So if you're thinking about your CompTIA A Plus, absolutely go and do it. It's a clear winner. When I did this 10 years ago, um, I didn't really know what it was until later in my career and discovering what it was. I'm glad I did it looking back. So CompTIA Plus is a clear winner. Definitely do it. If you have any queries, please don't hesitate to contact me and I'll be delighted to help. Until then, thanks for joining me on the CompTIA A Plus series video.